Coming at you with another episode of Thirsty Thursday. How the hell is everybody doing? My name is Matt. Sometimes I go by the Grass Factor, Martin. I apologize in advance. I'm going to steal DeMay's line. DeMay, when he hopped on here earlier, he said, it has been a long week. And you know what? It has been a long week. And so you know what we're going to do this week? We're going to do a call-in show. One, we want to talk to people. Two, what the hell? Why not? Why not? And a couple of things. And I want to get this out. Actually, it's going to take me a second to get to this. So in the meantime, I'm going to go ahead and introduce you to Ray Ito. Ray, how the hell are you doing, sir?
I'm doing great. Doing great. I mean, it has not been a horrible week for me. And thanks a lot for that Socor and Eximo, Matt, because I have somebody that I'm working on where his soil, my goodness.
Yeah, that sounds like a little interesting little project you got going on there.
Well, I already warned him that I'm going to start him off with the Eximo and the Socor. Then I'm going to have to redo his irrigation system. And after that, it is sulfur and citric acid.
And that's where the fun begins.
Yeah, because his soil, I mean, or I may get desperate and order up 4 gallons of sulfuric and just get it done.
Yeah, I would say that would get it done. And for everybody playing along at home, Ray and myself are going to give you a little caveat. Before you start playing with sulfuric acid, please understand that concentrated sulfuric acid, when mixed with water, is an exothermic reaction. It will boil, it will bubble, it will splash on you, it'll burn holes in you, it'll burn holes in your clothes. I don't think sulfuric acid will set your gloves on fire, but it's nothing to be taken lightly or played with, right? So
I mean,
that's going to be our lesson of the day.
Yes, that's going to be our PSA here. Yeah.
Well, hang on. Actually, I'm going to have a second lesson here, and this is going to be for DS. And oh hell, I tell you what, Jay Pink, are you in a position where if I send you a screen grab, you can throw it up on the screen? Okay. So DS is a pest and lawn ginger fan.
Who?
And he did not take too kindly to our comments that we had on the lawn ginger, specifically the video that said ginger goes to jail. No, not for domestic violence like we thought.
Oh, hey, listen, I'm sorry. I'm sorry I'm late. I was actually down at KFC picking up some dinner, and I ran into Colonel Sanders. He stopped me, and he seemed kind of sad. And I said, "Hey, man, what's up? What's going on?" And he said, "Well, they're not going to let me do the commercials anymore." And I said, "Well, why?" And he said, "Well, they want me to change the line from finger looking good to toe licking good. Otherwise, Ariana Grande is going to become the spokesperson for KFC." And I said, "Dude, that's a bad deal. Don't do it." But he was getting ready to lay down on the floor and lick his toes. So I don't know what happened, but I got out of there.
That's the best. That is the best. So DS says here, it is not your right to go after Jinja for his opinion of what to use. So that was mistake number one, because listen, I'm very aware of what my rights are, and it is 100% my right to be a dickhead.
Hey, I also learned from DS's comment that, I don't know, he must have took health class in a different school, but Matt, apparently, even with all the testosterone and other treatments that you're taking right now, your penis is only 23,000 subscribers big. I learned that. He wants to have a contest.
That is apparently the part of the new Inflation Reduction Act is going to be now measuring your social credit score against your the size of your member, and that's actually going to help determine what you pay in inflation.
You actually quadruple that, and you can get the number of IRS agents hired. But
and oh my God, can we watch? Oh, never mind. We'll do it off the air.
We'll do it later.
Yeah. That's a Sunday pre-show kind of thing there. We'll take a look at this next one here, and he again tells me I do not bash people for their opinion, and it was fascinating to me, and I probably shouldn't be giving this guy airtime. Is that I love it when people make demands on what I can and can't do. It's a strange thing, and it's a certain set of ignorance mixed with balls. And in some instances, I respect the balls that this guy has, that he firmly believes that he can tell me what I need to do. Like, this is what you need to do. What I'm saying is, do not bash people for their opinion on what to use on killing certain weeds. I want you for the knowledge you have on chemical, not to hear any bashing. First off, I'm allowed to have whatever opinion I damn well please. Second of all, if I interact with you online, I'll gladly take your criticism. If you're a member of the Patreon, I'll gladly take your criticism. If I feel like I know you, we talk on the Discord, we talk somewhere, I see your name around, I'll value your opinion 100%. I've never heard from DS ever before, and it could stand for dipshit for all I know. And so when you tell me exactly what I need to do, and then when I reply, you don't even read my reply. He says, I'm not saying you're a bad person. Where in my fucking reply did I pretend or even insinuate that I interpret his comment to call me a bad person? I could care less, DS, what your opinion of me is. Not a fucking iota what your opinion is of me. And in that same iota, I couldn't care less what you want me to do with the YouTube channel, because I don't fucking know you. I do not know you. I do not think you thought that I'm a bad person, because I don't care. I will not respect Jinja's, who you call the ninja, opinion. 100%. His opinion on using MSMA is a shit take, and I'm not going to support it. I'm going to call him a scumbag. I don't like the way he handled his kid in that situation. I'll call him a serial domestic abuser, because I fucking can, allegedly. You're right. I'm not in the lawn business anymore. But you know what? I grew more than one fucking lawn business to over $1 million in revenue. What have you done? What have you fucking done? I can disagree and bash whoever the fuck I want, because I live in fucking America. So you, DS, should change it to DN and suck on D's nuts. Get the fuck off my screen. All right, I got that out of the way.
Well said.
Right, you're not even in the lawn business anymore. Okay. What does it matter? Then he starts bringing up Carbon X. What about Carbon X? Your company went out of business. No fucking shit. You don't think I lived that, motherfucker? You don't think I lived that? I still live that, and it's been 2 fucking years. Go to hell. I should have replied and been like, you can't bash me for Carbon X because it got driven into the ground. You can't bash me for that. I'm here for your knowledge. You dance monkey, when I say dance, for your knowledge, you don't tell me Carbon X is bad. Caller, who do we have the pleasure of speaking with? I'm in a great mood today.
Hey, what's going on? This is Tanner Moore.
Oh, Tanner Moore.
Long-time listener, first-time caller.
Welcome to the dark side.
So what's going on?
Well, Tanner,
man, I'm peachy over here.
Yeah. Matt's ready to run through a brick wall, and Ray's ready to not watch Ariana Grande lick her feet. And I'm ready. I'm ready to get one. I get one more day, man, when I cross the finish line on a couple big projects, and I cannot wait. So excited.
I am planning on seeding on September 1st, so I am quite getting myself
All right. So where are you, Tanner?
I am Cincinnati. Well, technically Northern
Oh,
Kentucky.
Oh,
thank you for
golly.
clarifying that. Thank you for
I was going
clarifying
to
that.
say that is one of the worst cities in our great union.
Yeah.
Pittsburgh is way up there. Cincinnati is somewhere in that same general blast zone. The collateral damage of Pittsburgh is so extreme. It sucked Cincinnati into the wormhole. I'm just teasing. You have to ignore
Actually,
me. I am in rare
Cincinnati-
form today. I apologize, Tanner.
Pittsburgh sucks.
It all floated. It all floated
barely
down the
even
Ohio
use
River.
DeWalt tools because they're yellow.
All right. So Tanner, what kind of seed project are we doing here? Are we doing some overseeding? Are we doing are you spraying it out and starting over? What are we working with?
All right, so we've talked in the Discord. So we had some quack grass back in. So I just moved into this house this spring. Realized I was gonna just treat the yard like dog shit. Just absolutely just get everything out of it. Invasive, completely just strong rates of everything that I had. Well, I noticed we had some quack grass. You guys told me to put down the soul stealer. Good old Dog Villa sent me some Fusilade to mix up. And so we fucking nuked the quack grass. That seemed to go far away. Yeah, so we started spot spraying in like July 2nd or something. So I had basically holes all over the yard, which I was completely fine with because I knew that, come September 1st, I got a 50-pound bag of 365, a 50-pound bag of the lateral spread perennial ryegrass.
Okay.
A 25-pound bag of Falcon 4, a 25-pound bag of Fourth Millennium.
Are you going to put all these down? Are we making a cat? Valkyrie, yeah.
Wait, what was the last one you just said?
Valkyrie.
Valkyrie? Okay, yeah, I like that.
Yeah,
one.
Valkyrie
I like
LS.
Uh-huh.
And I think I got some Top Choice, 20-pound bag of a Top Choice fescue blend.
Pimpernel?
I'm gonna do some
fescue blend
on the backyard.
Fescue blend, yeah.
Not mole crickets.
Yeah, I was like, fire ants? What? What are we doing?
Mole crickets? What?
And so one of the questions I was gonna bring up is seed cover, or not on this hillside that I got.
No.
It's only about 500 square feet. I was gonna do tall fescue on it, non-irrigated. I bought some burlap sack I was gonna use as seed cover, maybe like for 4 days, maybe, then maybe take it off.
I thought you were talking about the seed aid, like expanding paper pellets, but you're talking about actually doing like a real seed cover job here.
Yeah. So I ordered. It was about 600 square feet of burlap sack that I ordered for the 500 square foot section, just because it's a hillside. I don't want to wash out.
Sure.
But I'm trying to figure out what I want to do on ratio of that blend, but also I'm trying to figure out what I want to do on the ratio for the front yard, because I was going to do some sort of like low cut, like 1 inch to 3/4 of an inch.
Hell yeah!
And I have that perennial ryegrass with the 365 SS. Mountain View Seeds suggests that for their putting greens on that lateral spread, you sow at 20 to 30 pounds per 1,000.
What? Putting
That's what their
greens
thing
with
says.
lateral spread rye.
Yeah.
Is there like a fact sheet or something on this?
Yeah. That's on their fact sheet.
All right, I gotta see this.
And
I'm
so
gonna-
hang on, hang on. We are going down in here because this is.
I'll call my boy on the air from Mountain View right now. I'll wake him up in Atlanta.
Which LS ryegrass is it? Do you know?
It's actually lateral spread brand.
Lateral spread what?
Lateral spread
Brand.
ryegrass.
That's lateral spread.
Lateral spread brand.
Lateral spread ryegrass. Hang on. I gotta see a look. Facebook. Okay. Yeah, that's. I mean, sure. Okay, let's go back here. Hang on. Well, yeah. Let's see if we can hunt this down. In the meantime, I'm gonna send a text.
Yeah, because here it is. Lateral spread brand. Okay, I found it.
All right. So,
did you find it, Demay?
I did not. Nope.
Okay, here I am going to send this, and we can throw it up on the screen, and I'll take a look at this together.
Oh yeah.
Research trial by fire. You gotta love that. Seeding and overseeding. So yeah, look at this. We have. For typical new seeding applications, apply at a rate of 5 to 7 pounds per 1,000 square feet. Periodic reseeding at 3 to 5 pounds per 1,000 square feet maintains density for visual appearance and durability. For overseeding dormant, warm season grasses at a rate of 30 to 40 pounds per 1,000 square feet is suggested for golf course greens. They're talking about overseeding,
it's even
like
higher than
we're talking about when Bermuda goes dormant, so like Tiff Eagle, and a lot of times you're not going to be playing on that particular green when it reaches that level of. A lot of times you'll see it covered and they switch greens. Some of them try to keep it open, and chances are that's not going to be a fun green to play on.
I don't think anybody's overseeding Bermuda on green or this on the greens either. That seems weird. I think they mean fairways or something. There's no way a golf course is overseeding a
I would never, ever overseed Tiff Eagle with perennial ryegrass. I mean, that is suicide. That is literally putting your job resume in and hoping you get hired somewhere else before they find out what you did where you currently work. 30 to 40 pounds. Let me tell you this, that on that rate is so high. I would not even do that on a baseball field. Like I've done
field program.
Yes, I've done some 25 pushing 30 pounds per 1,000 of on some baseball fields. And let me tell you the damage that ends up doing the next season. And this is overseeding warm season grass. I mean, it is brutal, absolutely brutal. So if you're looking at incorporating this in combination with everything else you said, so we're talking a 3-way fescue or shit. You said
no,
got
not on the front yard. Not on the front yard. I was gonna go low. I wasn't gonna do any fescue on the front yard because I was gonna do lower cut. So I was gonna do a blend of the lateral spread, perennial rye, and 365 SS. Kentucky Blue.
All right. So then if you're going to do that and don't mix them together, don't try to do that. Just do 2 separate seedings. Okay.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So go out at you want to go about 90 to 100 pounds an acre. So like 2.5 pounds per 1,000 roughly on your bluegrass, right? This is coated or uncoated, by the way?
Uncoated.
Uncoated. Okay, yeah. 2.5 pounds on the bluegrass. Come back over top of that with your ryegrass. Make sure that you get your bluegrass down in the soil. Do not just spread it on top and expect it to grow. Okay?
Yeah.
Got to track that stuff in.
And then that kind of leads me to another question.
I'm
really worried that I have maybe stirred up some weed seeds because I have lightly tilled the top 1-inch layer of the entire yard.
You tilled
I'm
it?
starting to, just electric tiller, just to get my soil loosened up.
Ray's about ready to light a joint.
What?
Ray's gonna light a joint.
Wait. Go ahead. Go. All right. So you tilt that up. Why? Because it's just a little uneven, or what?
Well, yeah, that's for damn sure. I knew that, it was just so bumpy. They had brand new cable lines put in that were all jacked up. I put drains in on both sides of the house because when I moved in, it was like a swamp on both sides. We can't have that because I need to mow. So put in drains, and I basically tilled to kind of even out and get that soil back into the ditches, so I don't know. I'm like looking back on it and I'm like, man, I'm seeing a bunch of nutsedge because, I've been fallowing, which I really haven't had to water because there's so much, we've been getting so much rain, but I'm starting to see some nutsedge come up and I'm like, man, I just hit it with, like the max rate of Sedgehammer, Helicopteron, probably 4 weeks ago, and it killed all the existing nutsedge that was popped up. But now I'm like, shit, And for some reason, glyphosate does not even touch this nutsedge.
No,
it does not.
No, glyphosate will never touch nutsedge ever.
Yeah, so I don't know what I'm gonna do.
Except concentrate.
I'm like
undiluted.
2 weeks out from seeding.
Spray it with Sedgehammer and glyphosate.
Yeah,
again?
Spray it with the Sedgehammer. Just do it. Please don't be
do it now.
Paralyzed by trying to overthink this. Just try to eradicate that nutsedge as best as you can right now, because I can speak from experience. Failure to try to control nutsedge before seeding or otherwise it's trying to establish grass, then makes your growing miserable.
Yeah, I mean, they did a little applied study at Ohio State, like, I don't know, maybe 3-4 years ago, where they were looking at the intervals that are on labels, right? So, like, if I make a 3-way application, the day, like 7 days before, the day of, and 7 days after each of those, like what happens?
Seeding.
And after seeding, yeah. And so the it's funny is that the Halosulfuron plots that were at 0 and 7 days were easily the ones that were the most beat up. And I mean, they applied Dithiopyr, Dimension, they applied Tenacity, like Trimex, standard 3-way. What was the other one? Ray. I can't think of it right now, but anyway, just basic stuff, right? And without question, the Halosulfuron was like the hardest on it at 0 and 7 days after seeding. So I would treat it now. The label calls for 2 weeks, right? Reseeding on perennial ryegrass. So, I think it'd be fine. My plan at this point, if I were you, is make one final treatment. Go ahead and make your Halosulfuron app. Go ahead and mix in glyphosate at like a 3 or 4% solution. Go ahead and send that with non-ionic surfactant, and then follow that up 1 week later here. So you're going to be about 1 week or so out from seed with another glyphosate app, just to make sure that you get everything knocked down. And then go ahead and send your seed there on or about September 1st. And when you do that, please do your bluegrass first. Make sure that it is down in the soil as best as possible. So, make sure that you're making some type of a slit, you're making some type of indentation, dimples, something like that, and then rolling or crimping that in to make sure it's got good seed to soil contact. Make sure it's not too deep, though, About 1/8 of an inch is all we're looking for in Kentucky bluegrass. So make sure you're even at 2.5 pounds. Come back over the top with your ryegrass, your lateral spread ryegrass. I'd be looking at a rate somewhere no higher than 5 pounds per thousand, probably in that range, and that's going to get your seed counts pretty darn close to where you would like to be, because in a blue rye stand, if we go anything more than about 20% rye, you're pissing in the wind. Anybody that tries to sell 50-50 blue rye is just trying to sell seed, and or it's a quick cover, short-term, long-term solution, like on an athletic field or something like that. It's bullshit for a general lawn.
Yeah.
Don't ever use it. Don't ever buy it. So 80-20, 85-15, maybe up to 90-10. If you do it right and you have good quality bluegrass, I don't care about the lateral spread or any of that other bullshit. The ryegrass will be gone in 5 years if you know how to grow bluegrass.
Yeah.
So,
well, and that's mainly why I want, because, Kentucky bluegrass takes forever to establish, but I want grass now too. So
if you treat it right and if you seed it right and do the right things, I mean, it's all about how you plant it.
With this 365 SS, because I've done some planters, and I mean this stuff germinates in 7 days.
Okay. Here's the thing. I agree with that, and I when people say that, it's a great marketing tactic, and I'll agree with you 100%. It germinates fast, right? But you know what? You go to the sorority house and you come fast, you're not going to be anybody's best friend, boyfriend, or husband. That's for damn sure. Okay. So, point here is, what do you do after that 7 days? That stuff's going to come up. It's going to sit there and not do anything and look like it's just sitting there, and it's going to grow a little bit and do nothing. So, just like going to the sorority house, it ain't about the first time, right? It's about that refractory period and how you treat her after that. So be kind, take good care of her, and be in it for the long haul. All right, sir?
Yep. Yes, sir.
All right. Well, we appreciate your call, and good luck with your project. Let us know. Of course, share some pictures throughout the course of the process, so we can. I specifically want to keep an eye on that LS perennial rye. I'm curious what you think.
Yeah.
Yeah.
All right, man.
All
right, big dog. You have a good evening, sir.
All right, you too.
All right, take care,
man.
Bye.
J Pink, can you show us a picture of what Ray looks like when somebody?
God, that was funny as shit. I did not see it at first. Debase caption.
Somebody says chilling. What's my cat?
Say it. Say your caption.
What was
Hang on. 1 second, caller.
When somebody mentions chilling the front yard to Ray. Ray takes that heater in two rips. All right, caller, you're live. Who do we have the pleasure of speaking to?
My question is for DS and also Ruben. Does he really think this is a fucking goddamn PG-rated show?
Do you? Speaking of somebody who could take down
a heater in two rips.
This is your fucking
yes,
literally. You know what?
Charles.
They McConaughey couldn't do it, so they were like, "All right, Chuck Beebe, get over here. You're gonna be coaching up Matthew on how to rip this cig in 2 hits." And every time Matthew did it in 3, he made him get down and do bear crawls all the way across the set and back, spit in his face. Took it. I think it was what was it, Charles? Yeah. Stay hard. Goggins was there too. What do you think it was, Charles? Do you think it was like about a carton and a half before Matthew finally got his shit together?
Do what now?
He got so scared he left. Oh, Jesus, never mind.
Wow.
No, I went down a hill and I lost like half of that shit.
Oh, good. You had a comment for who? These nuts?
DS and Ruben. What the fuck do they think this is? A fucking goddamn PBS fucking goddamn show to tell you, this is how you do your grass.
I didn't have any issue with Ruben's comment. I thought he was polite. You know, I was like, okay, fair take. That's your opinion, man. Yeah, I saw your reply. I was like, wow, that is good Lord, that is nice. That was really kind.
That's why I'll be the president and you'll be the chief of staff, Matt. You're in the behind the scenes kind of role.
I cannot interact with the public. So I get him back in the closet.
I do not know how you come up with that one.
Get him back in the closet. But yeah, I was not happy about DS. What a terrible name. And by the way, I already found out who he is. His last name is Stromberg, by the way.
What?
Is his last name Karen?
Yes. No, Stromberg. His last name is Stromberg. His first name starts with a D. And so anyway, you know, I did my due diligence. So it's good. It's been handled. Everything's fine. This is good.
This is normal. Matt is the Liam Neeson of let's not dox it. All right. What's going on?
His name is not actually Stromberg.
What is going on in South Carolina?
Meth.
Let's see. We are getting places that I know are getting rain daily. We got places that are getting rain spotty, and we got places that says, fuck you, what the hell is rain? So I am running a legit limited, like, I got to run my routes and go, okay, mow this one, mow this one, mow this one, mow this one. Skip the next 7, mow this one, skip 2 more, mow this one. And we need rain, like worse than lushy right now.
Ooh, that's a hot take.
Wait, what did he say?
He said they need rain worse than lushy.
Oh, I don't know about that.
I don't either. That's spicy, BB.
I don't know.
That is spicy.
We have Bermuda and Georgia that are already checked out dormant.
Okay. So.
Okay. What about it?
Should we come back?
Yeah.
No, I mean, I have not seen that in probably 5-10 years.
I don't know what to tell you. I mean, look here, and the reason why I would say lushy needs more than you do is that when it does rain, yours is going to come back. When it begins to rain in Massachusetts, nothing's going to come back except for the seed that has gone down. So, listen, don't forget that we have the competitive advantage in the South of never having to really worry about dead grass unless we have an ice storm. If you want to argue that we have ice storms and it smokes everything and it gets weird, yeah, 100%, I'll agree. But when it comes to drought, heat, all that fun stuff, we're doing okay. Like we don't have to worry about the same things that those guys worry about.
What about our non-irrigated fescues?
Well, it's gone. Bye. It's like growing fescue in Texas. Jason Traylor just mentioned Texas is worse. No, without a doubt, Texas is worse. I wouldn't grow tall fescue in Texas. I sure shit wouldn't grow tall fescue in South Carolina either.
And I'm the dumbass that wants to grow bent down here in South Carolina.
BB, listen, there's a time and a place to drink. And when it comes to choosing grass types, that is not the appropriate time if bent is what you have going on in your rattled brain. Do not do that.
I want to FAFO with some bent.
Oh, go ahead. 3 weeks into it, you're gonna have FO'd a lot.
Well, where the hell were you on my Thirsty Thursday?
Probably sweating my nuts off.
Yeah,
probably so. I'm gonna come visit you one day.
Do it. Hey, whenever you want. Seriously, come on up and you know we'll make the best out of it. It'll be a good time. I was showing the boys a picture earlier of me today, which is funny, because I was wearing a Carbon Earth shirt today. Speaking of Satan.
Oh, nice.
Mm-hmm. It was nice, and but boy, it was brutal. It was threw everybody in there. It was a tough day.
Yeah, I mean, it looked more like you were part of Pablo Escobar's crew.
You're damn right. Listen. There is a reason why I'm not allowed back in Miami anymore, and we'll just leave it at that. Okay.
I believe
It's
it's
not
actually
Colcana, is it?
It's actually been increased to all of South Florida. You're not allowed anywhere near the tip of Florida. So
yeah,
just
the
up
Keys,
there in Navarre, in the Balls
swamps.
area of Florida. Florida kind of dangles down a little bit. You know, you gotta watch. Florida talked to its tailor a long time ago and says, "Hey, I dress on the left." Okay.
It's so weird. The guy that gave me the ID with the name Steve on it that I have to use when I'm in Florida, but I use it and it works, so I'm good.
I thought your ID just said DS.
So, Matt, I do have a real question for you.
Oh my God.
Good.
No, so with you restarting the fertilization company and all that you're doing over there.
No,
with the humidity
be careful. Be careful. Okay, what about it?
Making fertilizer.
Uh-huh.
Or processing fertilizer, whatever you want to call it out.
Manufacturing
with the humidity down here
for.
Okay, manufacturing. There. Technicality of the word. I didn't know how to phrase it.
Semantics.
With the humidity that we have down here in the South, like this transition zone that we have, Tennessee, North Carolina, South Carolina.
Sure.
Do you ever see when you're bagging it or anything like that right there that you're seeing?
What?
Wait, you cut out that when you're bagging it, what happens?
Yeah. When you're bagging it or when you like put it in like big totes or anything like that right there, like are you ever seeing a shit ton of like moisture build up in it where it won't like spread and you're having like a bad batch here and there?
Oh, hell yeah. So, there's a couple things you have to, so you're talking specifically blending fertilizer. Okay. And I'll designate the difference there is that when you're granulating fertilizer, where you're actually producing granules, like you're producing a granule of ammonium sulfate or you're producing a granule of urea, you have to dry that down to a certain moisture content to slow the rate of moisture absorption, right? Because these are hygroscopic materials; they attract moisture out of the atmosphere, and so you have to be very cognizant of that and dry it down
after this.
But when you blend fertilizer, not only do you have to be cognizant of how long the materials are in contact with one another. So, for instance, if I were to take ammonium nitrate, ammonium sulfate, urea, and potassium nitrate and blend all of those, and all of those being relatively hygroscopic materials, and I did not get that into something that was sealed after they were in contact with one another at 70% relative humidity within half an hour, that would be a solid mass at about the 1 hour mark. So you've got about 30 minutes from the time it comes in contact with one another to get it into a bag and sealed. Otherwise, it will turn into a solid block. Now, you start removing some of those and it increases the length of time. So for instance, with just straight urea at 70% humidity, you probably have 2 hours, right? And so if you're working off a 1 ton batch, say you blend 1 ton of fertilizer and you're going to bag it, then, from the time that all that material comes in contact with one another till the time it's in a bag, you need to get that done in about a 3 hour window. And 1 ton in 3 hours is very possible to do.
With that right there, are we talking 50-pound bags, 40-pound bags, or are we talking the full 1 ton, like,
if you're going to put it in a super sack, if you put it in a super sack, a 1 ton super sack, you have to cover it like immediately. You can't just let that open air to the atmosphere just sit and chill. Urea is so hygroscopic. I'll give you an example.
I had one blended for me.
Okay, let me give you an example real quick. Hang on. This is a fun fact. So when Carbon Earth started, one of the ingredients that we were blending with was Amidas, right? From Yara Vera. Yara Vera Amidas. Amidas was brought in by on a 22 ton dump bed, right? And they would dump 22 tons. And we had a bin that we kept it in. And if you've ever seen a fertilizer blending plant, you build these bins that are covered, that are separated by block walls, and then usually you'll use some piece of plywood or something so you can get your front end loader in there and scoop it up, run it through a screen, and then go blend with it, right? Well, here's a problem with Amidas. Amidas was relatively new to the United States, and especially in bulk. This is one of their first vessels they had unloaded there, and at a port in Tampa. And so they start sending it up to us, and we put it into the bay, and you work off that truckload that day, and you come back the next day and say you had like 15 tons sitting there. Well, unfortunately, what you found was that there was about 2.5 inches of water of pure urea ammonium sulfate sludge in that bay, and about 50% of your pile of Amidas was gone, where it had literally absorbed atmospheric moisture and dissolved and was now sitting in a puddle on the ground. So 7 tons in a 24-hour period at a relatively high relative humidity had completely turned into liquid goo on the ground. So my point there is that with every one of these inputs, you have to be very, very, very fucking careful with each of them, how you store it, how you blend with it, all that, because they all have their own different set of characteristics.
Yeah, so this morning, 7:30 a.m., I had one blended just for me for the project, the TCI project that I'm working on. 30-minute drive up there. I get there, I dump, 3 5-gallon buckets, do a test run, nothing spreads. Everything's done clumped together.
What is the analysis?
What?
What's the analysis?
It was basically a 1-1-1.
Okay. All right. So here's probably
so
the
I was
reality
running basically
of the situation.
A 17 on a seeding.
Is either the urea they used or the potash they use. I will say this: MAP or DAP is usually pretty stable to atmospheric moisture. Either the urea, and here's another thing that can happen too. Sometimes these storage bins leak water when it rains. Depending on the type of material they have on the ceiling, it may accumulate moisture and drip off of it. I've seen that before because used to when we built Carbon Earth, we built Carbon Earth in a clear span building, and one of the things they talked about was it did actually a good job at preventing buildup of dew on the surfaces. In the morning, it's real humid outside. A lot of times you would get water condensation build up on the, I said dew, but it's condensation that would build up on the roof, and it would drip on everything. And if you got live wires or whatever in there, it gets to be a hazard. But the problem is that if you have raw material in, say like a hopper that you're storing it, overnight because, you didn't run out that ton or whatever. And then you go into the next morning and that condensation that is formed on the inside of the roof starts dripping because it's not in a climate controlled environment. There's no outgoing fans in there or whatever the case may be, just high relative humidity in general. It could be dripping into that. And so you're already blending with a wet input to start the day. And that's a problem. Now, there's some things you can do to mitigate that. Like the most common thing people will do is actually add diatomaceous earth. There's probably only a handful of fertilizer blenders in America that does not keep diatomaceous earth for that specific reason. And there's probably people out west who are in, areas that never see rain, where they could probably blend fertilizer outdoors and never have a problem because they never see rain. But for everybody else in the rest of the world, you'll see 20-pound bags of diatomaceous earth laying around, and they'll dump 2 or 3 pounds in a ton of fertilizer when they blend it just to help with the moisture issue.
I got another one for
you. I think they've done that with the truck, but I don't know if they actually done that with the tote that I had.
It happens sometimes.
Because the truck come out, the truck spread where I knew I wasn't going to run the big Z sprays for tight areas with the irrigation and everything. And then I was 5-gallon bucket out of the tote into the Z-sprays. And every time I would sit there, I'd see rocks. I'd pick them up. And I'm sitting there and like, my hand was coated with like this coating of fucking water from just the humidity that we were having that day. Like 2 days, like humidity was fucking ungodly.
Yep, that is totally normal. And, you know, that's part of the fertilizer world in the South, unfortunately.
Also in Hawaii. In fact, a lot of the stuff that comes to Hawaii is often coated in wax.
Mm-hmm.
You know, things like urea or AMS, unless it's solution grade, every prill is literally dipped in wax.
Yeah, RMAZ, ARMAZ is probably the largest supplier to the fertilizer industry of various coatings to help with hygroscopicity. And they've got a metric shitload of various things that you can put on prills. And a lot of it comes down to how much do you want to spend? How long do you need it to store for? Are you going to be storing it in a closed silo or an open air bin? And so there's tons and tons of different options at RMAZ. RMAZ is actually the one who developed the wax coating that's on Amidas now. That increases its storability because, unfortunately, when it first arrived in the United States, you could not store Amidas at all, no matter where you lived. If you had 10% humidity, you could not store Amidas. You can now. Holy shit, Dennis Page. Thank you, sir.
Whoa.
What else? What do you got? What do you got for me, BB? You're speaking my language.
Well, damn, if I'd have known this, I'd have took notes and prepared for you since you wasn't on my Thirsty Thursday show, you know, you happy little leprechaun. But don't worry, I'll have plenty of notes for GIE.
I'm the only 6'4" leprechaun in America and damn proud of it.
And that's why we love you.
All right, sir. You have a fantastic evening. Good luck out there and have fun trying to spread that, by the way. Because it's going to be
I did.
nice.
I spent 3.5 fucking goddamn hours. That should have been an hour and a half job.
With the gate wide open and going about 13 miles an hour. Throw to throw, feather that shit in.
No, it was gate wide open, cranked it up, BG 85, blowing it down.
I'll tell you one thing I did. What the hell? It was I just duct taped before. I had this on the steel green. I duct taped like a grade 8, like 3/8 by 4-inch bolt right to the little spinner that's got that fucking like half-assed outer pin on it. Oh yeah, that was the ticket. It was like going around, like it was spinning around like a flaccid penis inside that fucking hopper.
All right, BB.
Try that next time.
Have a good night. Stay out of jail. If you go to jail, we'll bail you out. We love you.
We'll bail you out. Yeah, that's true.
Love y'all too. Appreciate it.
All right, we'll see you.
All right, bye.
BB is eloquent. He's very eloquent. That is if old Chuck there is the stereotypical lawn guy. And I don't mean by necessarily like how he manages lawns. I'm saying like his crassness. That is I mean, that is the lawn guy that when you run into at like Site One or something, immediately, I'm telling you, for everybody out there, if you run into a guy and he talks to you that way, you need to friend that guy immediately, because that guy is going to be an ally and he's going to be in your corner. And you know what? You ever get into a shitty situation, that'll be the guy that takes his shirt off for you. I'm just saying. I've been doing this for a long damn time. I'm telling you, if somebody starts talking to you that way, they're good people. 304-804-7-ASS. That's 304-80-GRASS. That is 304-804-7477. give us a call. If not, you don't have to. You can throw it up in the chat. I saw Kelly Coleman asked a question about would he recommend Celsius versus Celsius Extra. And let me tell you why I would never recommend Celsius Extra, because Celsius Extra is the dumbest take on an herbicide I have ever seen. I mean, this is the laziest Bayer approach I have ever seen. It is reduced rate Celsius with a little bit of halosulfuron in it, except they have, what is it, thiocarbazone, iodosulfuron, and they left out the other one, whatever it was. I can't remember. And then threw in a splash of halosulfuron in it. Celsius Extra is trash. Roll your own halosulfuron if you need sedge control, or use your own sulfentrazone. Do not buy Celsius Extra, please. I don't know why they hung up.
That was no. The caller that made it in is Justin was too slow, so he was trying to beep in. He tried, but he was too slow. Someone beat him.
He's cross-eyed right now. It is dumber, in my opinion. It is dumber than Surge or Dismiss NXT, and I hate both of those herbicides as well too. I mean, just in my opinion, that is an herbicide manufacturer just completely pretending like you are the dumbest piece of shit on the face of this planet.
I think great content would be an
fooled you, buddy.
Extended Joe-Nose turf. An extended Joe-Nose turf on
actually
the dumbest fucking sides in turf.
Mm-hmm. No doubt.
Okay, here's a little bit of inside baseball, though.
Gotcha.
You know that Celsius Extra was entirely political.
Oh, really?
It was entirely political because of the heat coming down on dicamba.
I should have known.
That is why. I mean, they thought, what can we yank out and what can we add that would say that this still has value? But to me, I was telling one of my friends, if up to me, I would gladly buy a Celsius product that left out the halosulfuron and left out the dicamba, because you know what? The dicamba part of Celsius was never of any merit or value to me anyway. You know that? It was never of any value to me.
You know, I think they did that to try and justify buttonweed on the label, is my opinion on that. But it was never great on Lespedeza. It was never great on Spurge. It was never great on buttonweed. You know, you had to have a real phenoxy herbicide kicker in order to maximize your control on that. So, I mean, actually, I'm with you there. You know what I felt like it was. You
know what my kicker was for Celsius? If I'm using it for a combined grassy weed and broadleaf weed situation.
What's that?
My kicker for it was always metsulfuron methyl,
which is good. I mean, that's a hell of a hop wallop there, without a doubt. Caller, who do we have the pleasure of speaking with?
Hey guys, Zach Holbert from Greencastle here in Utah.
What is going on? Who is this? I heard Green Capital in Utah.
Yeah, Zach Holbert from Greencastle.
Zach, what's going on, dude? How are you?
I'm good. How are you guys doing?
Man, another day in paradise. Happy to be alive.
Right.
For the most part.
Sometimes. I have tons of questions for you guys, but I will try to keep it. I'll go as long as you
lay it on.
Me off.
No, you're good. Bring it on.
This one might be more for Ray. I've been applying sulfur to my lawn, and I think in my question for citric acid to you a week or two ago, and I've already noticed differences. But is it too much to do a sulfur application and citrus acid at the same time?
Nope.
No, not at all. Not at all. I mean, I almost expect people to apply both at the same time, because when you're dealing with a very alkaline soil, the reality is that unless your pH is temporarily reduced by the citric acid, the sulfur is not very helpful to you, because there is something about the sulfobacter bacteria where those bacteria are not particularly active and effective in high pH soils. Go figure.
Right. Well, it's
Go
amazing.
figure.
I have a
So,
customer. Go ahead, Ray.
yeah. So, in other words, when somebody is trying to apply, the granulated sulfur to their lawn, I almost want them to apply that pound of citric acid per 1,000 square foot that exact same day that they applied the sulfur.
No, that makes sense. Now, what about a sulfur application with like ammonium sulfate or nitrate at the same time?
That is a very limited benefit. It's limited because here's the thing about using ammonium sulfate or ammonium nitrate. Again, the only time I've seen ammonium sulfate or ammonium nitrate drive down soil pH is when the soil is already at or below 6.5 or lower. Then I've seen people actually do bad things to their soil when their pH is already low. But then when you're talking about doing it to soil where pH is over 7 and you have high available calcium, not so much. I don't count on ammonium sulfate or ammonium nitrate as an acidifier so much as I count on it as the nitrogen source for that lawn that is less likely to gas off and evaporate like how urea can.
Hang on, let me interject there, but what about using it as your primary in source? In the event you need to apply you're safe to apply that in combination with your citric acid and
you're totally safe.
Elemental sulfur.
You're totally safe. Yeah, you're absolutely safe.
I just wanted to make that clear.
Yeah, you're totally good.
The reason I asked, I had this customer, and it's just been non-responsive his lawn all year, and I'm like, man, I've thrown everything out. We pounded up with sulfur 2 weeks ago, and I texted him the other day, and we were going to stop by tomorrow, and he's like, it's already bouncing back. I pounded it with a 111. I pounded it with micronutrients and iron, and it wasn't responding. My plan was maybe put a little more sulfur, a little AMS on it, maybe tomorrow.
Yeah, solid.
Wait, how much sulfur have you applied so far?
It was probably 5-6 pounds per 1,000 on his lawn.
How long ago?
And how long ago?
2 weeks ago.
Oh,
I probably wouldn't hit it with
citric acid,
elemental sulfur again.
Maybe.
Yeah.
I'd hold
citric
the
acid,
sulfur.
You'd be fine.
Sure.
I probably wouldn't go with the sulfur again because that still needs that long more time to finish reacting.
A lot of water.
Yes.
And I told him to pound it, and that's what I did with mine. I pound it with water.
Good.
Now,
Good.
Next question. Here in Utah, we don't have a ton of fungus issues, but we get necrotic ring spot. And a lot of it is me overwatering. People keep using quick release nitrogen like urea, and they start to see it a lot in backyards with a fenced off with vinyl fences, which drives me nuts when they don't get airflow. And I'm wondering if there's my vendors out here says we got nothing. And I didn't know if there's a fungus there that would work.
False. Absolutely. I'll tell you what helps with necrotic ring spot. Get your soil pH down. That's what's going to help your necrotic.
Right.
Well, three things. Go ahead.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, get your pH down, and also take another look at supplementing manganese. more than iron. Because do you know why I give people shit when I see them overusing iron? The reason why I give people so much shit about that is because I see the possibility of them applying so much iron that they then start to displace manganese from their grass. And by displacing the manganese, they're then inviting problems in the form of maybe you set yourself up for more NRS or summer patch. Just because you chase that green.
Yeah. Demay, what were the 3 things you were going to say? I'm curious.
pH, manganese, and I was going to preface this last one with the question of what is the primary turf type that is being affected in these situations?
Bluegrass, definitely bluegrass.
Okay. Yeah. So okay, the thing that you need to do. What?
Oh, sorry. Did I say that out loud? I was dreaming.
I'm gonna come down there and fucking sod your lawn with centipede, bitch. I'll do it. I'll be there tomorrow. You're gonna wake up. You're gonna wake up and hear this like hum of machinery, and you're gonna be like, "Sami, what is that?" Oh, that's the donkeys and the spiders. Loading off this 4 truckloads of centipede that just showed up from buysod.com.
Honey, shoot me.
Shoot me. I'm gonna tell her. I'm gonna pay her off so that she makes you sit there and watch. She's actually gonna at that point duct tape you to a lawn chair, saran wrap you, and then scotch tape your eyeballs, your lids up so that you have to watch the entire time. All right.
It's terrible when I ask my wife to shoot me and she's like, "No, I hit all the guns. Sorry." Oh my God.
All right. So okay,
waste the bullet. Don't waste the bullet.
No, it's only centipede, sweetheart. You love mowing the grass. All right, so the one of the things here with necrotic ring spot, is the air movement's important, all that kind of stuff, but it is a soil borne fungus, right? So you got to be wary of how you're going to target the signs that you see, right, of the rings and the the turf that is sunken and all that kind of stuff in appearance. Stuff was there months ago. It's waiting for the right environmental conditions for itself to express and show. Okay, so the thing that you have to understand and target, and I would be very wary of the lawns that you have the most trouble with, and try to target these with a few key things. So number one is if you want to beat it, you got to use a fungicide. You can do, if you know you have pressure, especially if you're trying to get it and beat it back, year over year, you're going to have to use a fungicide at least at first. It's going to take a long time to get your pH down to an acceptable level to fight back on that front, right? So 6.5 or so, and then it's going to take you a long time to get up to a critical value of manganese, which, if I remember correctly, if you go back and read Rutgers Field Day has a lot of really good reports on this from their summer turf proceedings. I want to say it's like 55 parts per million. Ray, jump in if that doesn't sound right, but I'm pretty sure it's right around 55 parts per million. Yep. Is critical
55
value.
Parts per million and
on Malic 3.
And on Malic 3, and the way they're suggesting that is, what does 4 ounces per 1,000 square foot of manganese sulfate applied at monthly intervals through the growing season mean to you? And that is in addition to whatever other fertilizers or micronutrients you apply. And your other alternative is, when you decide to use a micronutrient product, I kind of recommend a more balanced product that has more than just iron in it. And I know I'm familiar with some products where they have a nice balance of iron and manganese. So you're not just applying a lot of iron. And those products, to me, tend to get me where I get the grass green but I don't set myself up for another problem because I'm also supplying manganese. But even then, there I am with the couple of ounces of manganese sulfate added to that. Okay.
Yeah.
No,
I mean, I think
that makes sense. I've been using a product for my Wilbur Ellis supplier called Dynamic Iron. It's pretty well balanced. It's got a good micronutrients package along with iron, and my customers are loving it.
Mm-hmm.
In fact, I can't remember the guy on the show back from he's in Ohio. He was you guys all had this discussion about using like a 1 app or a single app type fertilizer, and I'm picking 30 or 45 of my customers.
Dave Heinlein. Dave Heinlein.
Yep.
Yeah.
That's him. I'm actually picking 30 or 40 of my customers and put one of those 1 apps on it. I'm going to those same ones every 5 or 6 weeks, but I'm not obviously pounding with any more nitrogen. I'm just putting a micronutrients and doing weed control on them. And the feedback I've been getting, people are loving it. We're not getting that surge of growth, in April and May, and the plant, growing too fast and then getting weak in the summer. As I see it, I think it's a steady growth.
Okay, so on the fungicide front, there's several things to take into account here. Is you've got to get the fungicide down to the roots as quickly as possible, right? Some really good work out of, I believe it was NC State just a couple years ago that talked about how irrigating immediately after versus waiting like an hour and the differences, right, in efficacy that they had in getting active ingredient to the root, right, for uptake. So in this case, it's a DMI that you're going to be looking at, like a propiconazole, a mycobutanol, things like that, right? So in this case here, you're looking for soil temperatures, right? 65 degrees at a 2-inch depth for 3 consecutive days. If you can measure that in your own lawn, you'll know when to apply. I know that might be difficult with multiple accounts and things like that, but you should be scouting and kind of keeping your tabs on that to make that first application. When you do that, again, try to make it in such a way that you can irrigate that in immediately. One other thing that I've done with really good success has been to go ahead and poke some holes right ahead of time of areas that are suspect, right? So if you have a solid tine aerator or something like that, those were always really good tools to try and force that material down into the root zone just a little bit faster and help get it in there. But again, 65-degree soil temperature at 2 inches, 3 days in a row. That's the time to make your app. You're going to take that and you're going to follow that app up again 21 to 28 days later with the same exact app, okay? And the same thing, trying to get it down into the root zone. At that point, it's wait and hope. You don't know whether it's going to work or whether it's not going to work until you get into situations like you're in now weather-wise and see what happens. But I guarantee you that you'll see greater efficacy if you get those DMI products down into the root zone and do so expeditiously right after your application. The other thing, and I'll let Ray talk about this real quick, but spray volumes are key here too, right? You really want to get those spray volumes up 2 gallons or better to make this application particular.
Yes. I mean, when you're talking about a soil-based application, when I do an application where I know I need that product down in the soil, I literally have spray equipment that's capable of putting down 5 to 10 gallons per 1,000 square foot.
Jesus.
And even then, I'm often making that application ahead of an operating irrigation system because I don't want that application to dry on the leaves before I'm able to water in. Okay? And then speaking of watering in, when possible, I also like to have a wetting agent watered in a week or so before I'm planning on doing something like this, just to ensure or promote even penetration and distribution of my application when I'm trying to water it in. So it's just things to do that make it work because I've also read some things about how applying fungicides for soil-borne diseases has been very hit and miss, erratic. Some workers say not worth doing, especially in a non-golf turf type situation. I beg to differ because I know on a golf course, hey, if needed, those guys are spraying at higher volumes ahead of a running system.
Yeah, totally different story there. So yeah, it's tough, and you're right that it's erratic, and it can be just as frustrating. So, and I think that's the one thing that I think in lawn care that I would be very wary about setting expectations for clients. Right? It's because they're going to pay for these fungicide applications early on, months before that this is really going to, again, express and show issues. And you're asking them to take a leap of faith. You're going to make an application that's fairly expensive in the grand scheme of things. 2 of them, in fact. And then if they still see the disease, like, then what do you do? So if it were me, I would talk to them about sort of the short term, long term, right? The short term is this: we can make these applications, and these can be reasonably effective at reducing the amount that we see, not necessarily completely keeping us clean, but reducing the severity and the amount of disease incidents that we see with the chronic ring spot. Here's the cost on that. The long term is, hey, we're going to work on soil manganese levels, right, based on your soil test, and here's the numbers of where you're at. Here's where we're going. Here's where we're going to get there. And then the same thing on the pH, right, that we know for a fact that necrotic ring spot and other soil-borne pathogens are much less severe at pHs, somewhere between 6 and 6.7, something like that. So, again, it is it's that short-term, long-term thing of, obviously there's always, idiot customers that don't understand it and just want to see, the cheapest price, and that's that. But I've always found that the ones that you want to work with, right, the people that are really your people, will appreciate that you're coming to them with a plan and helping them understand, okay, what's the level of investment that I need to put into this, and what am I going to get out of it, and what's the potential for failure, right? Because anybody who comes in and says that whatever we do in turf is foolproof, well, they're just full of shit. And
fools.
Matt,
Fools.
They should be laying on their bed licking their feet.
Wow.
Ew.
Yummy. Tastes like Tinactin.
Oh,
What else? What else you got for us?
Great segue, Matt.
Yeah.
Now I just bought an older home, but a new home last October, and I'm going to renovate. I've already got a real mower ready to go.
Jeez.
I'm just torn if I want to do like a turf type self fescue or a bluegrass. I'm probably only going to mow 1.5 to 2 inches though. Feedback.
I don't know. Irrigated.
Oh, it will be. Yes, it will be.
Oh yeah, then bluegrass all day long. Bluegrass
all day, yeah.
And then if you set yourself up right, you put some high pH soil in there, and you get some of that necrotic ring spot pathogen out of your customer's lawn, and you try to recreate some test plots out there. That's what I'd do. Shit. You think your lawn's bad? Shit, take a look at mine. Like, I mean, come on. Like, that's a classic defense mechanism right there. Is you meet their outrage and exceed it. Matt does this all the time. He's very good at it. He's a natural, in fact, right? You're mad. You're mad about your necrotic ring spot. Let me show you my fucking necrotic ring spot. All right? Don't you talk to me about that. All right? It's a sore subject. My mom's lawn. You want to talk about my mom's lawn with a necrotic ring spot? I will take you over there and show you right now. She'll make a steak and eggs. But first, we're going
to this question for you more, Ryan. My ex-wife sold the house I had that house set up beautifully, and I had a. Oh, don't be. We're good. We're actually really good friends. I had an old ET Rainbird, the ET Manager, and it worked beautifully. But here in Utah, I think someone's bought the data, and I have no signal anymore. But the only one signal I have is historical. So I'm trying to find out a really good ET type timer controller for when I redo my system. I love the old ET.
I'm not up on the homeowner ones, but I know the ratio or the ratio, RACHIO. They have
ratio. Yeah, the ratios are ones. Okay, I actually prefer a different one that is a lot less gimmicky and is actually linked to a weather station that,
let me guess,
you put outside.
Is it the Hunter Hydro?
Solar Sync.
Oh,
Hunter Solar Sync. Hunter Solar Sync. I mean, I like that it is monitoring conditions on site week by week, day by day, and it is not depending on data from a weather station that may be in the next town that may be totally irrelevant to your actual microclimate. You see, if somebody tells me they want to monitor ET temperatures, etc., I don't want the damn weather station that is miles away from that site. I don't want that. I mean, if we're going to talk about monitoring parameters, I want it on that actual site and from nowhere else. Okay?
I like it. I like it.
Yeah, I mean, because I've done solar syncs for people and they like them because the solar sync just starts to do some of the adjustments that I would otherwise do, like dial back the amount of irrigation per week according to conditions. Like during the wet season here in Hawaii, it starts to cut back the time drastically. But then, of course, when it's 91 degrees and it hasn't rained in months, it easily dials the irrigation back up. And so it also has a built-in rain sensor. So if you actually get a rain event, it just shuts the system down and then delays until it's dry. Simple, yeah?
And that's a lot like the ET Manager was. I mean, it wasn't an on-site weather station, but I had a brain gauge for it. It worked a lot. Hey, they were a pain in the ass to work with to get them set up and dial them into those specific conditions. But once you had it, I didn't mess with that ET Manager for 8 years. And then every time you go to look at it, it's like, I can't remember how I did this shit.
Well, they keep you guessing.
It does. It does. I think that's all I got for you boys.
I thought we lost you for a second.
Yeah, I thought my screen is jerky. I thought I dropped. Well, I appreciate you calling in. Please call back in the future. Keep us up to date on all the various projects we're working on, and we'll see how this ends up.
Yeah, and I think I'm scheduled in October for you guys as a guest.
Nice.
Hey,
one of the last ones before we go to Louisville.
And I will be in Louisville.
You will be.
Hey, smoking ain't right.
Yeah, that'll be fun.
You short weeks away. Let's just do a week's count on that. That's 1, 2, 3.
We 4,
5, 6, 7,
6,
8, 9. 9 weeks from tonight, boys. We will be.
Oh my God!
On the stage. Matt will probably have his shirt off by that point. We'll have the connect chains on his nipple rings. I mean, Yeah. Pack your drinking shoes because it's going to be extra sloppy.
I can't wait. It's going to be a good time. Sir,
great time.
Thank you for calling in. For everybody else playing along at home, we are going to call this. We're going to head on over to our show after the show. For those of you that are wondering what that is, you can check it out, patreon.com/burn return. You get access to some of the things we do offline. And then, of course, our special events, our private Discord server, we get to hang out with us, private Zoom events where you get to hang out with us, and you know, access to like maybe hanging out in Louisville. Yeah. So by the way, and before, so that way nobody gets their feelings hurt. This is going to be adult talk among adults, and there's probably going to be some indecent humor and maybe a bad word or two, and maybe a complete and total mental breakdown by the end of it. But that has yet to happen, and I doubt tonight will be the night because, you know, at the end of the day, I am way more mentally stable than I play online for the most part. For the most part. That's not entirely true. All right. We're headed to the show after the show. We'll catch y'all on the flip side. See ya.